Hey everyone, John of Nonware here again. Following up on the previous video where I did some compression of state in the mutable, some compression of the mutable state of the simulation of Space Beast Terror Fright, a game where you shoot lots of nasty aliens in claustrophobic environments. This time I'm starting a stopwatch. Yeah, so looking into how to solve the crash, how to avoid the crash. I'm thinking that, first of all, should probably look into perhaps increasing the size of the pool. Because bullets are really how we love one another in this game. It's like really the only main point of interaction. Excuse me. So I want to see what happens in terms of data sizes. If that's done, we'll see. And boom! Immediately it booms. But that is the test. That was certainly the test. 36, you can't see those tooltips, sadly, on the capture, but 36, write it in the watch instead, so you can follow along. NSV, network server mutable sections, because you can't spell, 36, and sections that we calculated was 39. And 3 times bytes per section, that's a whole extra MTU. Maybe you didn't see that. 1536. See, do that again. 1536 extra bytes by doubling the size of the bolt pool, so 128 bolts maximum. And you'd think, who cares? 1500 bytes. One of the things that hasn't changed much in my over 20 years in the industry is the I don't think it's changed at all. Is the size of the so-called maximum maximum transmittable unit or something like that. MTU, which is like a low-level network packet, the biggest reasonable size of something like that, because otherwise, if it's bigger, then there are certain routers along the paths, the wonderful paths of the internet, that will either throw them away or ignore them, or I don't know, maybe split them. I don't think you can split them, but that's a thing, and always been aware of that kind of thing. I believe also that Steam, in their code, also has as an MTU limitation, I believe. I do believe. I want to see where... Yeah, look at that. Steam enforces an MTU of 1200 bytes. And since I'm using their sort of hybrid NAT punching UDP protocol to do the real-time stuff, I can't send a packet that's larger than that. So that means that an increase of 1536 bytes to transfer the entire mutable state requires 2 extra packets. Well, it will be compressed, but at least one extra packet, I think. Yeah, maybe I'm nitpicking here, but it's more data, and I don't even remember, as usual, how this stuff works. As usually, just forget everything. How does the server do stuff? What are we looking at here? This one, send. Host send. At least I documented this. We only send a single section. Yeah. And why is that the case? Why do we only send a single section? Man, it's been such a long time I looked at this stuff. Yeah, look at that. Here's the packet. The packet that goes over the wire from the server includes a section, all of the inputs from all of the team members, a little bit of bit mask stuff, protocol and sequence. Yeah, okay, cool. What is this? Section words. 128 words, so it's 128 words, and a word is 32 bits, so it's 512. Yeah. How big is this? Oh yeah, so the client packets are a little bit beefy. Ooh, yeah, that's why it's so little, because there's some oh yeah, this is where all the nastiness comes from. There's certain amount of client authoritative stuff going on for lag compensation. So that's probably why I'm spending quite a bit of the MTU to do client stuff. Apparently. No, client input. Oh, no, it's only that stuff. So I'm sort of curious. Shouldn't we make the packet bigger? Compression buffer size. What is that? So 2048. Yeah, so we're assuming, and it's smaller than MTU. I'm very curious. What is the size of an wire SV packet T? It's only 556. I mean, is that even reasonably, that's really small. Why are you doing this? So if I add a whole extra section of the mutable state, and as the astute viewer is sort of getting out of this is, yes, I'm just basically chopping the whole byte, the big chunk of bytes, which is the mutable state, into equal sized or 512 byte sized chunks, and just like ripping them out of. There's no serialization, there's no strong typing, there's nothing like that. And I'm sure that some of the artifacts that we're seeing is because basically at any given time, a client will have a somewhat fragmented view of the world that is being stomped on periodically by the server, but then the clients are running their own simulations as well, so things get really crazy. One of the funniest things about this network implementation is you get the most artifacts if you're the host, which seems inverted from what it should be, because the host is running the official simulation. But some of that is because of client out stuff, and a lot of really nasty latency compensation things that I don't even really want to think about, really. I just hacked until things seem to be working. But that's also a long-term goal. This whole client-server architecture might go away and be replaced by hybrid stuff. Let's keep that out of the discussion for now. But I'm seeing, in any case, like regardless of the increase in size of the 1536 bytes that we bloated the mutable state by increasing the pool size, I'm also seeing that it looks like the MTU is a little bit conservative. And what is the win there? If we can send twice as much mutable state data per packet, then it takes half as much time for the simulation to get synchronized. And it will never be completely synchronized, but the deltas will be, it'll never get completely synchronized because the server can't send the entire snapshot of its own state because it's like 18 plus kilobytes. It can't send that in an MTU because an MTU is 1200 bytes. But it can, do its best to give you a recent version, and that's the idea. I'm chopping it up into pieces that will go over the wire and then sending those as fast as possible. But again, keeping it down to a single section per packet. And I'm thinking you might get away with 2. The question is, I guess, how big of a change is that? Is it super complicated to do something like that? And should I even do it if I'm looking at another kind of protocol? Everyone gets the same section for give and tick, and the section index can be derived from the sequence thusly. Yep. So the sequence, yeah. Yeah, it might get a little bit nasty. Here, 0 sections means that we are writing bits to say what is the... yeah, there's always some bits that say for all of the immutable state what sections are 0, and that happens when the object pools aren't very full. So that's an optimization, and we want to send the next non-zero section. What we have to change here is you have to change 2 of them, and the section index can be derived from the sequence thusly. Yeah, it's this plus 1 if we're sending 2. So that's a little bit of a bigger change. And maybe a little bit, putting a little bit of too much effort into something that I don't necessarily want to keep, because again, the whole thing might be going away, and that's what I should be working on instead. The reason for doing this at all right now is to fix the crash bug. So, put the producer hat on and think, what is the best way to fix the crash bug? And theoretically, just increasing the size of the immutable state is bad because it degrades quality further, and also it doesn't solve the fundamental problem of overflowing a fixed size pool of objects. That is the problem. And I mean, theoretically, people could, they could make a user map that has as many sentries as possible, and there's just so many bullets in the air that, yeah. So I would say a short-term fix is to change as few things as possible. So looking at this, not doing that, just not doing it, and instead looking into what do I want to do? Looking into when the actual allocation happens and actually just silently fail. If you couldn't get a bullet. Yeah, this is what we're looking for. Let's see. Cores, creeps, doors, fences, panic rooms, breaches, sentries, breakers, scientists. Yep, this is the one. Gets called here. This is in the hero code. It wants to fire single bullet. Stats have been moved out. 1 bullet. Single bullet. how does the shotgun work? Or the hammer, or rounds per shot. That's the hammer. So that gets called. Yeah, are there audio issues with triggering many shots at the same time? Yeah, maybe. Rifle, shotgun, razor. Let's look at that again. Okay, to fire A. Every single case looks at that. So that's a nice candidate. So we go. Can I just maybe yeah. That doesn't help anyway. Okay, to fire A. I want to include in that test oh, look, it actually includes rounds per shot. So hammer, yeah, that's going to be 2 or 4. Weapon rifle is 1. Shotgun rounds per shot is 8. Original was 8 rounds, was 6, back to 8, went below reload. Yeah. Okay, it's 8. Let's do 8. No, we want the constant. Let's make the constant uppercase. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, and for those of you who know or don't know, the shotgun has the best DPS because it fires at the rate of the lowest ammo. Because some of you know that the different ammo tiers they affect fire rates a little bit, which is legacy. But anyway, the shotgun always fires at the lowest rate because it's a little bit slow firing anyway. So if you have ultra ammo, you have a little bit more DPS there. But of course, it eats your ammo a lot. So anyway, what is that? Okay, to fire. Modulator. Is that for the razor? Yep, razor modulator. Modulates damage or something. So I'm thinking I'm going to block firing completely if there aren't enough. So I'm thinking if bolts count plus rounds per shot, the amount of bolts we want to have in flight, if that's larger than M max bolts, it's not okay to fire. That will save us. So basically, you're going to ask the system, hey, I want to fire a certain amount of bolts or rounds in a single shot, so shotgun, hammer, all that stuff. If the current count plus that, if it's equal to max bolts, that's fine, because then it'll fit. But if it's larger than max bolts, yep, that is the smallest fix. And it will only happen when we're maxed out. And that is, you know, hopefully super duper transient. The fact that everyone's firing at the same time and everything's saturated. Yeah, I'm going to run this video a little bit longer because I want to do some examples of longer than usual. I like to keep it to around 15 minutes. We're at 19 now. First of all, I want to know how many bolts are going on. You're going to see some dev stuff here. So model stats. Can we see stuff like what does model stats give us? There are a lot of debug switches that you can turn on that show stuff. Heroes, bolts, Yeah. We're going to do some cheating. I'm going to do some cheating so you can see how it works. We're going to turn on model stats here somewhere. And that's a lot of crap, but I'm interested in right there. These should be called M-bolt. Oh, that irks me. It irks me. This is once upon a time I thought namespaces were a really good idea. I no longer think that. Oh, okay, don't mess with it. Anyway, what I'm going to use this for is I'm going to be tracking in real time how many bolts are in flight. I'm also going to use a really fun one, which is max upgrades. And I'm sure you'd love that one. And I'm going to go with Alien Assault, which is a really good a map where many things happen. Lots of bullets in flight. The max upgrades cheat is to max out my character regardless. And I'm going to use the fast download speed to get the sentries up and running as fast as I can. Maybe a little bit hard to see now because of all the debug text, but see how it goes. And yeah, I was murdered by a sentry. That's not the right way to do it. Do not stand in their line of fire. Okay, we'll try it again. I'm going to go a different route. And I wasn't even looking, but I want to see how many bullets are in flight. Typically like 3 or something. This one. I'm seeing 12, something like that. Maybe I should have a max count going there. But that's why I thought 64 was enough, because I'm seeing double digits, but I'm not seeing 20. Oh no. Okay, I want to see highs, and I'm going to do it the ugliest way possible. Static, max bolt or high bolts. If that is larger than high bolts equals the thing. Then I'll just do that and high bolts. So I'm going to be printing out what the high is. And that's just for the current session, execution of the program. We'll see how that goes. Hmm. 24 minutes. Long video, but you know, sometimes Sometimes things take some time to do. Whoa, that was close. So I'm seeing 14, 15. Oh no. So what we got, 26. So even with this amount of chaos and firing, it's only 20. So yeah, my theory is that the problem only arises because of the other networking bugs where things fire at an insane rate. Isn't this pretty? Look at this madness. And you know what? That's only one dynamic light. Only a single light. Isn't it nice to be stingy? Yeah. But now we ran out of ammo. $26. Yep. I'm going to do some more testing on this, but I think that's probably the way to go. I have to think about this. I'm not going to think on camera.